Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Cam. So today, Libra, I have such a beautiful message for you guys. You guys got the bluebird and it kind of looks like a robin, so I was like confused, but it's a bluebird. And it's interesting because they both have like this colored chest, but anyway, the bluebird is obviously blue. So yeah, you can look it up. It's a really cute bird, and the meaning of the bird is so positive. It means joy, it means renewal, it means life, it means happiness. It's like probably one of the most positive messages of the week. So yeah, guys, I think Libra, you guys are going to be moving into a really happy time in your life, because I just feel like the bluebird, again, it can, the other thing I was getting was that it like is the connection between you and the divine, the connection between you and your ancestors. So again, like if you see a bluebird, that could be like an ancestor trying to communicate with you. But I'm really just getting that there's a time of peace and a time of joy coming for you. And another thing is like renewal, right? So like a breath of fresh life, basically, right? And that like makes sense, right? Because we're going into the spring, and that's kind of, you know, what's happening with all the trees. Everything that's been dormant is now kind of bursting into life, right? So I just feel like spring is going to be a really positive time for you, Libra, and I'm so happy for you guys. So let's pull some cards, Libra. So Libra, I feel like with the intuition card, there's a lot going on with the signs this week, and this like temptation, right? Like this devil energy, this karmic energy. And I've been feeling that in all the reads. But what I'm here to tell you is like, that's not one of your issues. I feel like you're trumping that, right? With the intuition and the Nine of Pentacles in reverse, like this temptation or whatever it is that like a lot of signs are dealing with, specifically with Taurus, Cancer, and Sag. So if you have Taurus, Cancer, or Sag, again, those are the ones that have been coming up heavy with those energies, but you're not having an issue with that. So I'm really happy to see that you're listening to your intuition, and then like old cycles are not getting in the way of your growth, right? Because that's important, right? Sometimes we do things by habit, and that might not necessarily be the best thing for us, right? So I'm getting with the intuition coming up first, like that's not your issue. So I'm happy for you, Libra. Like keep listening to your intuition and don't be tempted by anything that seems too good to be true or an energy of stagnancy, right? So now we're moving forward, and I get this Child card and the Eight of Swords. And what's interesting here is that the bluebird also said something about the inner child, right? I think it was like a Native American thing or some sort of culture where they say that the bluebird had a lot to do with the inner child. Like they want your inner child to feel better and to, you know, prosper and to heal. And what I'm getting with this, it's interesting that we have the child with this Eight of Swords, because I think that there's an event in your life that happened that severely hurt your inner child, right? And it has to do with this Ace of Pentacles and this Knight of Swords. So I feel like it's someone running away, right? Like someone that might have said a lot of nice words and then left your life, right? Because the Knight of Swords is someone who, you know, they come in really quickly and then they leave just as fast, right? Like they're not a energy of someone that you can depend on, right? Like if you wanted to be dependent on an energy, right, you would want someone who had like pentacle energy at least, right? Because one energy is flighty, sword energy can be flighty. Sword energy is more of like, I'll say a lot of nice shit, but then I'll be gone the next day, right? Wand energy is more sexual, and you know, cup energy, cup or pentacle would be like the best when it comes to love. And you have this Knight of Swords in reverse. So I see who you were dealing with, and I guess whatever they did to you, I feel like they like left, and like they came in and they left as soon as they came in. Like they came in as quickly as they came out, right? Like they were just in your life and then they left. And I feel like this really hurt your inner child, Libra. That's what I'm getting. Like it really did damage on you. It really affected your confidence. It really hurt that inner child. And I think what's going on is like, you know, it's kind of like this codependency or this dependency, right? When we don't have when our parents teach us these like, there's like different ways to rear a child, right? Did I just say rear child? Yeah. When you're like taking care of a kid, right? There's different ways of nurturing a child, and they're really important, right, to the way that we function as adults. And it's like all psychological, but like if you're a type of parent who, is never there for a child, then I feel like a child learns, has like abandonment issues. And I feel like that's something that maybe some of you Libras have been dealing with for a long time, some sort of an abandonment issue, especially in terms of love, right? Like this person came in and came out and it triggered your inner child. So I feel like there's a parent maybe in your life who's never really been there, or who's kind of, you've always felt like abandoned by, and then this person came in and came out, and that triggered that wound in that inner child that you might have thought wasn't there, you might have thought you healed, but it triggered something, right? And it's a hard thing because I feel like your belief system is that it's like all your fault, right? And it's the same thing as when you have a parent who doesn't like, if you have a parent who doesn't like to spend time with you, doesn't like to have a conversation with you, doesn't like to be around you, right? You feel that as a child. And I feel like that's kind of what you're dealing with, or you have dealt with, where there's been a parent who kind of neglected you. And it might not be like in the terms of, there's different types of abandonment issues. It doesn't necessarily mean that like you didn't grow up with both your parents. It doesn't necessarily mean that, your parent didn't like feed you. Like there's different types of neglect. And I feel like this is an emotional neglect, right? Because this is the type of parent who I feel like, for all of you it could be different, right? What type of neglect, but there was definitely some sort of neglect in your childhood that I feel like might have led you to having this wound be reopened by this person, because you're still healing from the fact that, like that abandonment issue as a child where like everything is your fault. And I feel like that's how you spent a lot of your childhood, like, a parent not wanting to be around you, a parent kind of like dismissing you or telling you to go away, or like just not being around, right? Like you try to conversate with the person and they just like, can you just be quiet? Like, I don't want to talk to you. Like that type of issue with a parent, I feel like could be really, it hindered you, right? And it hurt your inner child. So now I feel like when it comes to this relationship, you look at it as it was your responsibility. Same thing as like when you have a parent who doesn't really want to be around you, right? Like it's like, it must be me, right? So maybe if I'm quiet around this parent, they'll want to be around me. So maybe if I do things for this parent, they'll want to be around me. But the truth is, Libra, like you have to be yourself. Right? Like you have to be yourself at all times. And sometimes it's unfair that we have parents that also have their own issues that they've never healed. But this is something that I feel like you need to heal. And I feel like you have been trying to heal it. I feel like you're aware of this issue. It's not something, I feel like a lot of people on this channel like are aware of the issues that they have, right? Like it's not something that we're like blind to, because we do the work here. That's what I think of when I think of like my followers. I have like really good followers. So I think like we're aware of it, and I think the biggest thing here is to understand, Libra, like none of this is your fault, right? And I think that there's something coming in where it kind of feels like justice, right? Where, even though someone did this to you, and even though a parent might have done this to you, I feel like the big thing that you need to understand is that it had nothing to do with you. Like it has to do with these people. It doesn't have to do with you being like a bad person, or you being annoying, or you being like not enough, or I feel like this comes down to like, I'm not good enough, I guess, right? Like I'm just not good enough. Like I'll never be good enough, right? And I feel like at the end of the day, like that's just an energy that you need to heal from, because again, that's not your fault. It's not your fault that like a parent treated you that way, and it's not fair that like a lover treated you that way, right? So I'm getting like a heavy energy with that, but I feel like a lot of you guys are healing from that, and you have your ways of like healing, but just know that like none of this is your fault. With the Ace of Wands in reverse and the Four of Cups, like it has nothing to do with you. Like this is someone looking in the mirror and be like, I guess it must be me, right? It must be so annoying to be around. Like they must really, must not be good enough. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not good, whatever. It's not true, right, Libra? And when I'm getting with the Hero card in reverse, like I feel like this with the ego. Like this is the ego card, right? And it's like it's in reverse, so I feel like that it's not you, right? And I think that's something, if you didn't know, then you should know. Like it has nothing to do with you, right? It has to do with this person. And now we're coming up into the energy of this person, right? Because I feel like this is a masculine, and I don't know if you care about this person anymore. I don't know like how you feel about this person, but all I'm gonna say is that I think it's really important that you guys heal from this like inner child wound where, again, I think if you spent a long time thinking like it was just all your fault, and it has nothing to do with you, okay, Libra, like this is nothing to do with you. This has nothing to do with you. Like this is them. This is like the same thing as, this is your parents' issue. This is their issue. This has nothing to do with you not being good enough. This has nothing to do with you not being like enough of anything. This just has to do with these people's issues. And I feel like if you understand that, then you can keep healing, right? Because this is a wound that I feel like just hurts. Like it doesn't matter like in what context it is. It doesn't matter if you're 100 or 10 or 50. Like I just feel like it hurts. Like it's something that hurts. But I think like, again, if you can understand that has nothing to do with you, then you can get past it. Okay. Now we're going to talk about this person, because I feel like this is the other person that you're connected to. And again, if you don't want to hear about them, then I don't blame you. Like you don't have to hear about them. You can like click off. But I just want you guys to know that I love you and that like I'm very proud of you, and this has nothing to do with you. This has to do with this person. So now we're going to look at this person again. If you don't care about this person, just click off. Like it's not a big deal. Like I respect anybody's like decision to not listen or listen. So what I'm getting with this person is that there's a triggering done, but I feel like there might have been some sort of contract to this, right, with the Six of Cups, because I feel like this issue that you've had of like this abandonment issue is something that like had to be triggered to be healed, right? Because I feel like that child is coming up, right? So I feel like you've done some healing work, but I feel like it took you a really long time to get over this. Like I feel like a lot of time has gone by. Like I feel like this is a person who has been, you know, now everything seems fine, right? Like now the devil energy doesn't tempt you, but back in the day, like it did. It was a really harsh energy for you to deal with. And I feel like now, I feel like they're trying to tell you that this all had to do with healing for you. I feel like there's some sort of contract with you and this person, right? Like this person was meant to trigger that issue within you, right? And it seems very cruel, and it is cruel. It is, like, it's not a fun issue to deal with, but I feel like it all had to do with, for you to heal, right? And for you to work through this issue. And what I'm getting with this, with the 7 of Coins, it's like something that you had to put the work into so that you can get out of it, right? Like you had to put the time into it so that you can never feel like this again. When someone leaves you, or when someone doesn't want to be with you, or like when your own parent shows you in present day, like the issue is always going to be there, right? With that parent. So every time that parent does it to you, it won't affect you anymore. Like how powerful is it to heal, and how powerful is it to like get better, right? So that's why I feel like this all happened. And it has to do with your ego, right? Like your ego is triggered by fear. So it's like you'll never fear, like, remember in V for Vendetta when her like biggest fear was being caught, because she knew she'd be tortured, right? And like she knew that she'd be hurt, and she knew like what those people did. And then he did that to her so that she could never fear walking down the street again. She would never fear like being captured again. She was fearless, right? Like she went through her worst fear so she would never have to feel it again. This is like basically that. Like you went through your worst fear of being abandoned and someone choosing to not be around you and like leaving you, so that you would never have to deal with the abandonment issue again, right? So it's like you've been, and honestly I feel like it was important because it changed you, right? Like as a child I feel like you were changed by this parent, and then I feel like again in love and in like coping, you might have been a like dependent lover, right? Like a very like codependent lover. And now I feel like this is kind of triggering you so that you would never have this issue again, right? Because I mean how many probably bad relationships have you been in because of this like codependent issue? Do you know what I'm saying? Or like how many bad situations have you put your own life in because of like the problems that this parent has caused you? So that's what I'm saying. Like this is a really strong read, but I think it's really important because I think that it was like a contract done by you and this person. And what I'm getting with this is like you'll never be indecisive again, right? You'll never be like someone who's just like taking whatever they can get from a lover. You'll be someone who's like purely independent, and you won't never feel like this thing again. That's what I'm getting. Yeah, and even though a lot, like this person was meant to leave to trigger this within you. Do you know what I'm saying? Like to trigger that feeling of like abandonment, to feel that trigger of like lies, right? And it's so you can put this burden down, so you can put the burden away, because it's not something that you're supposed to carry for the rest of your life. Like imagine if this person never came in, never gave you this abandonment, you know, you would probably be running around the same way you always did, right? So if you are someone who, you know, is being triggered now, and this is somebody leaving you now, then it's like a time for you to heal, right? This inner child. The inner child is very important. And it's a part of us, like we have to heal it, right? And this person now, yeah, I get more like of you, like wanting this person to be around you and not understanding why they left and not understanding why they took their love away. Like there was a death to someone who you thought was like everything to you. But I'm getting with this is like they were meant to trigger something within you. They were meant to trigger, you know, some sort of healing within you. And I feel like with the Hermit in reverse, it's like, I feel like a lot of the time in the past you spent like not going down the right paths, right? Like going the wrong way, always choosing people who were really bad for you. You know what I mean? Like choosing lovers who just like were not necessarily the best lovers. With the Hermit in reverse, it's like someone who doesn't really reflect, someone who doesn't really think. It's just like a reaction, right? So that's why I feel like this all happened with the child and this person not taking your offer. We have all these aces in reverse. So I feel like this has been like a really hard time for you. But it was, again, it's reminding me of V for Vendetta. If you've ever seen V for Vendetta, it's like a really good I don't know the word I'm trying to say, but it's like the same exact thing, right? It's the same exact principle, which is someone triggering you and putting you in your worst nightmares so that you will never fear this again, right? Now, let's get to this masculine. I feel like the masculine energy with the Chariot, they were stagnant for some time, right? But I do feel like there's still a contract between you and this person. Right? There's still a contract here written between you and this person because I see the Chariot as someone coming forward. So, you know, some readers say the Chariot is like the energy of someone remaining very like stagnant and not moving. But what I'm getting with the Chariot is like someone's getting out of stagnancy, right? And it feels like, honestly, after you heal, after you fix this issue, someone coming out, you know, and being around you. Yeah, and with the Hangman in reverse, it could honestly mean like someone is finally done. Honestly, maybe the two of you were meant to trigger one another, right? Because when it comes to soulmates, right? When it comes to soulmates, I feel like the contract could have been mutual, right? Like the contract might have been mutual. It might have been, right? I mean, the Hangman is someone who goes on a spiritual quest, or the divine stalls, right? So that they can figure some shit out. But with the Hangman coming up in reverse, that means that the lesson is over, right? The person either learned it or they didn't learn it. So the person is coming forward. Now you're going to have to be the one to know if this person just like knows the lesson or not, learned anything from the cycle or did not, right? And what's interesting is they're coming up with the Queen of Cups, the Queen of Coins in reverse, and the King of Swords upright. So they might have broken up with an earth sign, a Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, and now they're coming to talk to you, right? But there's definitely some sort of, I'm not too sure who this Queen of Coin is. Honestly, it could be maybe you have earth in your chart, right? And after a long time, you haven't been together, or they could be leaving an earth sign. But what I'm really getting with this is like that there is some truth that they're going to come and speak to you, right? There is something here about the contract that like, I just feel is like not over, right? Like, yeah, this was all meant to trigger you and that's all nice, but there is something here with this person. Like, again, maybe this is them also beginning to see the truth, right? Just as you're beginning to understand that, like, you got triggered and all this shit happened to you so that you could heal. Maybe this is them having the same exact thing happen to them, right? Where they're like able to heal. Because the Queen of Coin in reverse is like, could be a mother figure, right? Who was like not necessarily a nurturer, right? The Queen of Coin upright is a nurturer, right? But the Queen of Coin in reverse could be someone who's not very nurturing. Again, this parent that we're talking about, right? Someone who doesn't necessarily, they create the wound in the first place. This could be that person. And again, this could just be you seeing everything very clearly, or this could be the other person that left you seeing everything very clearly. Or it could be a new person that is like coming in that's had the same issue that you've had. But there's definitely like some sort of contract here. It could be either with you and this old person, a new contract stemming from like you and a new person, because both of you have learned the spiritual lesson. But I definitely feel like there is someone coming in who knows like the same thing that you know, right? And that is this energy of working through this inner child issue of abandonment. So yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, you're not trapped anymore. And what's interesting is we have the Lovers. Yeah, at the bottom, and the Magician with the Queen of Swords. Yeah, so this could be you and them, right? But what I'm really getting with this is like, I feel like maybe for both of you, it could have been a mother figure with the Queen of Coins in reverse. I can't figure out who this Queen of Coin in reverse is. I'm guessing it's like a parent figure. Again, it could just be someone that they're leaving, or someone that you've left in your life because you knew that you deserved more. There's definitely something with this Queen of Coin in reverse, but whatever. The decision has to be made by you, right? And I feel like there is a decision that's going to be like, again, the bird signified like joy coming into your life. So again, maybe after you heal all this, there will be like joy re-entering your life. But I also feel like there is a person maybe also re-entering in your life with the Lovers. So let's either re-entering or a new person entering. But there's definitely, I feel like, something coming for you, Libra. But I mean, I definitely feel like you have to do the healing first, right? So it depends where you are on the timeline, when this happened to you, when this person abandoned you, how long this healing has to take place. Everybody's different. Some people take like years and years and years, and some people don't need that long. And you don't have to judge yourself. You can just have the time to do it for yourself, right? It doesn't matter the time. Time is not real. So with Hawk Spirit, I feel like let Spirit be your guide. It's coming up in reverse. I feel like they say that this has a lot to do with selective hearing, right? So I feel like that's how you kind of had to be as a child. I feel like this is an old energy, or this is for someone who is like in the beginning of this journey, who, again, it's like someone shows you that they don't really care, but you have to, in your heart, you try to believe that someone cares, right? So you're like, oh, they didn't really mean that. You know what I mean? Like, they didn't really mean to like hurt me. They're just blah, 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 blah. This is like making excuses for a person. Again, selectively hearing, selectively feeling, or like, how do I explain this? It's like, this person didn't really mean to do that. Like, it's like my parent didn't really mean to do that. They're just going through this, and this. It's like making excuses for people. And that's the energy that they don't want you to be in anymore, right? Like, there is no such thing as like, well, they didn't mean to do it. They did it, right? Or like, they didn't do this or that. Like, don't make excuses for these people in your life. I think that's something you have to learn from this cycle. Like, you shouldn't make excuses for people treating you a way that you don't want to be treated. And I feel like, again, for those of you who have already gone through this is something that you used to accept as a child, or used to accept as a young adult, or like for whatever age you were. This is something you used to accept, but you don't have to accept it anymore, right? Like, it is what it is. Like, somebody doesn't treat you right, that has nothing to do with you. It has all to do with that person, right? Like, don't make excuses for other people's behavior. So another thing I'm getting, you have Dove Spirit, be peace in reverse, number 21. This is another thing from the past. It's crazy. I just feel like someone who had like a really shitty childhood, like, and this is why I feel like you have like these coping mechanisms with people in your life where like you like make excuses for people, and they're not like good people, right? And with Dove Spirit in reverse, it's the same thing. It's like you are a peacemaker. You are someone that's meant to bring peace into this world, but there, for some reason, you're doubting that, or you're not trusting that, because maybe you've been like in hell, you know what I mean? Like, you've had a really rough time, and it's been really hard for you to like ever see yourself as someone who could be a peacemaker, right? This is like someone who denies that they're a peacemaker, and their spirit is telling you like you deserve to be nurtured, you deserve to be like coddled, you deserve to be someone who felt at peace at one point so that you could bring peace to others. If you've never felt that peace or nurturing or love, then it's hard for you to believe that you're a person that could bring peace and love to others, right? So it's, again, I just see like a really shitty like childhood, to be honest. And with Hawk Spirit upright, with Hawk and the dove, it's birds, right? So again, there's like a big thing with birds right now. You got the bluebird, you get the Dove Spirit and the Hawk Spirit. So listen to the birds. Like, if birds like to come around you, or like birds are like being there for you, like if you're just outside and you see a bird come towards you, I feel like that's spirit trying to tell you like we're here for you, right? We're like, you're not alone. So you guys got Yeji Zogyal, Lady of the Lotus Born. Embodiment is the deepest bliss. My body was made for enlightenment. I feel like this has a lot to do with like you not believing enough in yourself and like how beautiful you truly are, right? Because it speaks a lot about how sacred your body is, like this card, like how beautiful your body is. So again, I feel like someone here who's been through like really rough relationships and has not really treated their body fairly because of, again, childhood issues, right? So this is like lovers in the past who've taken advantage of you. And like that's something that they want you to end. Like, they don't want you to see yourself as someone who's not worth a lot, right? Because of a way that a parent treated you. So I feel like this is a really big read for you to remember how sacred and how divine your body is, like to revere it and to respect it, and to make sure that the people around you also respect it. So again, I just feel like there's a person here who's been through a lot and who has deep childhood like abandonment issues, and that's why I feel like this person goes through, you know, like the people that love them are not necessarily there because they love them, but they're there to like use you, right? So that's why I feel like, again, this is a very deep issue that has to be fixed. But I definitely feel like this person came in because they were meant to help you with this. They were meant to trigger it within you. So it's a cruel lesson, this person leaving you, but I feel like it could have honestly been the best thing that ever happened to you, because I just feel like now you won't, if you deal with these abandonment issues, you won't have to deal with this ever again. And you'll find a lover that will actually respect you for who you are, not for like what you have to offer them, or, you know, take advantage of you. So yeah, Libra, this was like the toughest read I've ever done. I love you guys. I hope this helps, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.